A special Coleman Report Live, January 31st, Government Open Edition. Lance, Chuck Evans, Capital Growth Access, Capital Growth Solutions. Chuck, welcome.
Thank you so much, Bob, and good to see you, Lance.
Hey, it's good to see you, Chuck.
We are incognito today. Lance is on a corporate retreat. Joseph and I are in the Death Valley. I don't know where Chuck is, but we're going to pre-record this and do this as normal, so hopefully it works out. Hey, for those of you who are new, please download these certificates, put them in a file, give them to HR. This answers the question, what are you doing for training? And this certainly counts. Chuck, you've been on before. Tell us what you do.
Well, we're a lender service provider, Bob, and we help our clients process, close, and service loans and try to stay between the white lines. It's a great business. I know there's a lot of talk about lender service providers, but it's one of the best things we've done.
And I'm a big fan of the model. I think it makes a lot of sense. It doesn't make sense to hire a full-blown liquidator servicer when you're starting out your portfolio. Once you get up and running, of course, you can start taking on that skill set. But you also, for the experienced providers, you also provide a service to just do an overall portfolio review, which we are all concerned about. Let's go to the questions. Paul, I have a question for the SBA shutdown. Paul is a GP lender, Lance, and last week we talked about the shutdown that says, hey, the lender has the unilateral authority to increase the loan balance by 20% on regular 7A and 33% for Express. Now he's GP. Can you do that, Lance?
Well, Bob, it depends on, of course, I'm assuming that Paul's saying the loan is approved but not dispersed yet. The loan can be increased 20 up to 33%. It does require some documentation to support that increase, but if you're a GP lender, that's going to have to be submitted to 7aloanmod.gov for approval from SBA. Now, if you're a PLP lender, you can make those increases by making the changes in E-Tran, paying the appropriate guarantee fee, and when you save it in E-Tran and it accepts it, that's the same as SBA's approval. So, but in this particular case, Paul indicated he's a GP lender, so any increase in the amount of the loan would have to be submitted to SBA, again, 7aloanmod.gov. I may be getting that wrong, but it's the 7A Loan Mod email address at Citrus Heights for approval from SBA.
Lance, I'm a PLP lender, but I've processed the loan GP. Do I have to go through Citrus Heights, or can I unilaterally increase it?
However you process the loan makes a determination of how the servicing action flows, especially now when you get past final disbursement, guys, most of the servicing actions are the same on a GP loan or a PLP loan in terms of whether it's unilateral or not. But prior to final disbursement, GP loans, any change in the amount, any change in the authorization is going to have to go to Citrus Heights for approval. On PLP loans, you can make those changes. In some circumstances, that's just documenting the file with a memo. If it changes any significant details on the loan, like loan amount, loan term, you have to make those changes in E-Tran. But again, on a GP lender, this one's going to have to be approved.
Hey guys, what are you hearing out in the field? I talked to a 504 lender yesterday. They got 2 authorizations from post shutdown. They certainly were not expecting that within 2 days after the government reopens. What are you hearing out there in the field, guys?
Well, the general processing lenders are at a bit of a disadvantage, at least on the 7A side. I think historically the 504 loans were approved quicker. Certainly any general GP lender today, if we're open for 3 weeks, anything that's submitted today, it's probably not going to get approved, I'm guessing. Certainly the PLP lenders are real busy right now.
Yeah.
Go ahead, pretty much the same thing I'm hearing, Bob, and Chuck's on point. The 504 loans, submit those bad boys because those probably will get done. 7A loans submitted, GP. There's, I don't know that there's a backlog right now, but give it a day or two and there absolutely will be a backlog. But POP lenders are working feverishly to get all those loans that were approved put in the system.
Paul, our
Common sense would
question.
tell you
Go
that-
ahead, Lance. Chuck.
Common sense would tell you if you've been closed for a month, there's going to be a backlog of, could be 1 to 3 months possibly.
Yeah. Paul, our questionnaire extraordinaire, asked us about unilaterally giving up to a 90-day deferment. Lance, what are the logistics on that? What do we have to do with that?
Well, this loan is sold in the secondary market, if you see what's in parentheses. And yes, as an SBA lender, you can unilaterally defer payments, whether it be an interest-only payment deferment or a full principal and interest deferment for 90 days without getting approval from anyone. It's a unilateral action. Anything beyond 90 days will require approval from the investor and then concurrence by SBA. So Paul's correct. You can do a 90-day deferral without approval, but the second part is how do you deal with the additional monies that would be owed as a result of that deferment? Well, on a loan that's sold in the secondary market, you're going to have to keep the maturity date the same. If you want to change the maturity date, change the payment, change some term in a loan, that too is going to require investor approval. So I think what's going to have to occur on this one, almost all SBA lenders at the end of every year re-amortize loans, especially in an interest rate environment where there's change. We went about 7 years without having to really re-amortize anything. Now rates have changed 8 times, or is it 9 times, guy? Anyway, these loans are going to have to start being re-amortized on an annual basis so they pay out within the term of the loan, and that's what's going to fix this one, Paul.
Guys, I'm a big stats guy. I love talking about stats. I think these stats should roll off the tip of our tongue. We've got 30 million small businesses in the United States. Small business creates 66% of new jobs. And the downside is it's a one-for-one. This is back stats. This is the 2018 report. I think these stats are from 2015. But how many people start a business? They also close the doors. So it is a risky endeavor.
Bob, I'd like to hear Chuck's comments, but real quick, I was a Small Business Development Center director for a number of years, and we track these statistics real closely. And kind of the fun part is they're very similar today to what they were 20 years ago. Small business have always created a majority of the new jobs in our country. That's why SBA and small business lending is so important. And the startup to closures has always been kind of a wash.
Yeah.
You also see the baby boomers aging and selling, so business acquisitions is up. It's interesting that the shutdown, how impactful that's going to be for these small businesses. They don't talk about that today. They talk about the 800,000 employees, but little was said about, I'm opening a new business, I needed the funding, and I didn't get it in time. So it's going to be interesting in the next couple months. Also,
what's interesting is if you're a Schedule C, you're considered a small business, and a lot of those are hobby businesses. Of those 30 million, 20% have paid employees. So I think one of the questions you always need to ask is, how are you taking care of your payroll taxes? Because once you get behind on that, bad things can happen and escalate very, very quickly.
Well, and if you ever get behind on that, Bob, you're going to have problems getting an SBA loan.
You are going to have a lot of issues. Just make sure those people make those payments. A topic near and dear to Lance's heart, poultry loans. I don't know why this became such a big deal, but it certainly has become a big deal with the new Democratic House taking control of the Small Business Committee. It is going to be a big deal, but now you have 2 senators who are saying, hey, we're farmers. Grassley and Tester, bipartisan statement. We're farmers, but we think the Tysons of the world are taking advantage of our 7A program, Lance.
Now, here's the thing, guys, just for reference. The Tyson corporate headquarters is about 3 blocks from the studio. So it's kind of risky for me to get too excited if I had some local people on, but I'm going to share something with you. I packaged my first poultry loan using SBA in about 1986. Poultry loans have been done using the SBA guarantee for 30 years. And a lot of lenders, Chuck and I were talking about this one before we got on, like Live Oak Bank did a ton of poultry loans. First Federal did a ton of poultry loans. The bank I used to work for, we did quite a number of poultry loans. While I don't disagree with the basis for this, there absolutely is affiliation now that didn't exist 20 years ago. It sounds like they want to just cut the cord, and I'm not sure how much I like that.
Yeah, and again, go ahead, Chuck.
The SBA has gotten into a business like gas station loans. They've cracked down, and poultry loans are the focus. Are other contract farming operations going to follow the same suit?
No,
Bob, that's something Chuck and I were talking about. It doesn't really matter what type of farming you're in. They're all kind of like this contract operation that's causing the affiliation issue with poultry loans.
There's no difference between these small operators and a widget manufacturer who's selling 98% of her product to Walmart. It's the same concept.
Absolutely.
So, very good. Secondary market quotes. We have sbasecondarymarket.com. If that's of interest to you, let us know, and we will make sure we will give you a separate email for that. And we publish the 7A rates and the 504 rates just to give your CFO or the person who handles that a rough idea of what's happening. Hey, today's the last day. We need your compensation numbers. My promise to you is if you send it your bucket position, we will send you the compensation for that. We give you the average, top, bottom. Obviously, this is an important subject for all of us, and we love doing this type of survey. Lance, we've been doing this, I think, 20 years now.
Well, I think it's an incredible resource for SBA department managers or C-suite people who have an SBA lending unit or Chuck. But it's a great resource to figure out what it takes to be competitive for bringing on that great SBA loan closer or SBA loan underwriter.
Very good.
Well, gentlemen, a lot of banks are getting into this, and this kind of information is extremely important in growing your program.
Yeah, and how we do it is very simple. We do SurveyMonkey. I do it personally. I compile it. I throw out the high and the low, and I take them and I send them to my friends around the industry, Chuck being one. I say, Chuck, do these numbers make sense? And Chuck goes, or. So we get real world input to that. Let's see. What else is going on? Lance, you got 2 webinars coming up. We're dusting off equity injection. Why do we dust this old topic off, Lance?
Well, because this is one of the most common reasons for a denial on the SBA
denial, straight denial.
As an SBA lender, you do this with the reliance that the SBA guarantee is going to be good. Properly documenting your equity injection is critical.
And then part of our single topic underwriting issues, Lance and I are going to be doing one on assisted living. And that's a new topic. We did a great one the other day on child daycare. And these are fun topics to do, Chuck, because Lance and I are able really to dig in between the numbers and give nuggets for underwriters. And we're specifically talking SBA.
The fun thing, Chuck, on this, I always love Bob compiles these amazing statistics about the industry. And I learn something every time we do. Even though I'm speaking, I'm learning. One thing, Chuck, franchise daycares, the failure rate is almost 0.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, and we're an aging group, the SBA group, and a lot of new people want to get in, and education is probably the number one need in our market today.
Very good. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for the special edition of Coleman Report Live, taped from Orange County. We'll talk to you next week.
I just wanted to make one quick comment before we leave. Hey, guys, it's always special to me when I'm on with 2 of my best friends on opposite sides of the country. It's a great show today.
There you go.
Very good.
Thanks,
Enjoy
guys.
it. Talk to you next week. Thank you.
Take care.